Good morning, good afternoon, my friends. I'm happy to speak to you again, and sorry for slight delay with this episode. It took me a few more days to prepare and also to think about the content that I wanted to speak to today. I am happy to see you. Hey, hello. I see you, Indira. Hello, I see you. Yeah, that's great that you have all joined. And I am having a very specific topic for you today. Uh, Quite interesting one. I think that is not mentioned or discussed as much in our occult cycles, especially I think in YouTube, I haven't seen much videos recently or at all about German medieval magic. We usually know and are practically those that work with magic work mostly with Lesser Key of Solomon, Grimoire Verum, which is originated in France and Italy, mostly grimoires that are coming from Anglo-Saxon way of or channels of culture. And we can say that Solomonic magic is definitely prevalent. Goetia is such later on, which was so practically become very famous, mostly by workings of MacGregor Matthews or Aleister Crowley. He revisioned Goetia and Lesser Key of Solomon and Greater Key of Solomon. These are quite known, but I think many of us are omitting also very potent and strong area of magic and a little bit different type of it's very similar but also different type of workbooks and grimoires that were prevalent also in the same time, practically in the 17th century, but not in England or in France or Italy, but in Germany. And I mean mostly Faustian grimoires. So I would like to speak about a very specific tradition of magic called Faustian grimoires, based on very infamous figures in the medieval times. Dr. Johannes Faustus. So many of you probably in school or we know that Dr. Faust is a quite known figure, mostly from especially I think all those that are watching maybe from Germany, we know Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, that he was practically a pillar of German classical literature. And he made a book, practically a poesy about Dr. Faust, divided in two parts. You know the story probably. And it speaks about Dr. Faust or Johann Johann Georg Faust. I think in England he's known as John Faustus. Yeah. And this was a magician. Yeah. So Goethe creates his work based on not fictive character, but we can say that Dr. Faustus was a magician in 16th, 17th century. And all of these stories and fables are made on actual person that probably actually lived, because we have historical information about this person, mostly from legends, but also from letters of other practitioners in the 16th, 17th century that are speaking of this infamous person. So Goethe is practically just making the story on a real magician. Who was this Dr. Faust? Yeah, so quite known figure, also in art. So I will start maybe with to show you a few pictures because they can tell the story better. Dr. Faust is being shown in many paintings, mostly in the classical literature in the 16th, later on in the 18th century. But what's interesting about this magician from Germany is that a lot of old grimoires are attributed to him, mostly that were very strong in Germany, because in Germany his grimoires were more popular between the occult scene than, let's say, Lesser Key of Solomon. It was these Faustian Grimoires. Why we think that he was living? We expect that Johann Georg Faust, known as, was living maybe in 1480, 1470, and he is mentioned by several people. For example, Johannes Trithemius. Trithemius is very also famous alchemist and magician, is speaking in his letter to his friend Johannes Wirdung in 1507, and he writes a letter about certain Georgius Sabellicus. And we think that this Georgius Sabellicus was later on, it was a different name for, that was the actual name of this Faust, because Faust was practically his magical name. And this Georgius Sabellicus was a trickster. He was a fraudster. Yeah, at least what Trithemius is telling us. According to him, he was boasting blasphemously about his powers, Sabellicus, and he was claiming that he could easily reproduce all the miracles of Christ. Trithemius also says that Sabellicus was so persuading to other people that he received a teaching position in Sickingen, which was a city in the Germany, in 1507, which he abused by indulging in sodomy with his male students, evading punishment, and also escaped. Later on, and this is not only information about that we have about this Sabellicus, another occultist, his name is Mutianus Rufus, in 1513 also writes about this person, that he was like doing and boasting about his magical powers in Erfurt. In Erfurt is another city in Germany. And this Sabellicus was later on telling about himself that he is Dr. Faust. He got these magical powers, and he was visiting certain cities, saying about himself that he is a great nigromancer, practically necromancer, and that he is able to do a lot of magical things. What we also know is that also these people that hated him or were telling about him that he is a frauster also admitted that he is quite knowledgeable, and that he is that he knew a lot about culture things, philosophy, all the things that were considered at the beginning of the 16th century, that he is practically a doctor or someone that knows about everything. This Sabellicus later on was known that he died very violent death. Yeah, in a city that is called Breisgau, and he died in an inn. The inn is German, is called. It happened probably in year 1540 or year 1541. We don't know exactly, but it was quite known thing because the death was very violent. He died in Hotel zum Löwen. It means like hotel by the lion, yeah, in English. And his body is reported to have been found in grievously mutilated state, which was interpreted to be the effect of the devil, that the devil has come to collect him in person, and his body was practically mutilated in very strange thing. We can say, I have read also another resources which says that his body exploded from inside. And the whole place was full of blood, intestines, and things like that. And the force of the explosion was so strong that his body was thrown away from the window, and his mutilated body ended in mud. Some say, realists would say, that he was conducting some kind of strange alchemical experiment, and this was the cause of explosion of some explosives that he was working on. But there are also other theories that I would like to speak about. So normally history would forget this Faust. Yeah, they would say that he is a trickster and so on. He died violent death, maybe an alchemist, fraudster. But we know that later, after his death, there are in Germany, mostly in the 16th century, there are so many books related or attributed to him that speak about magical art. And we can say that it's not only one book, but it's several books, maybe 10 or 15. So this is also not something uncommon. We know that in Grimoirum Verum we have several versions. We have the black books in Sweden, in Denmark, but in Germany it was mostly these Faustian Grimoires. The first one was started to circulate in 1501. It's called Dr. Faustens Dreifacher Höllenzwang. It means the the trinity of hell or something of Dr. Faust. Yeah, my German friends will probably translate it better. It speaks practically about the hellish pit and the demons that can be worked with from this hellish pit. There are other books that are starting to circulate at that time and are attributed to him. The Black Stare of Dr. John Faust. It appeared in London in 1510, so his legend starts to grow. There are specific Praxis Magia Faustiana, 1527, for example. All of these books can be found in libraries around Germany in original form, in Wittenberg, in Passau. Yeah, there are other books that are attributed, but one of the most known is a compilation of these grimoires. 3 grimoires, mostly the most famous, are compiled in one big book that is published relatively quite late, 1848, by Dr. Schäbel, a German in Stuttgart, in the city of Stuttgart. And the book is called Magia Naturalis et Innaturalis. So the magic of nature and beyond the nature. Yeah, Magia Naturalis is also another philosophical philosophy of nature book from 16th century. So practically Dr. Schäbel is took these grimoires and prepared a book that is using these old materials attributed to Dr. Faust. I have the book in my hand, and we are very lucky, those of us or those of you. I speak German slightly, but of course, it was the German I would be probably not able to translate. Although from the 1848, I think it's quite readable, and now there are also more actual translations of this Magia Naturalis and Innaturalis in German. Those of you that speak German, I strongly recommend the German version because of the German texts that are practically original Latin and German texts in invocations. But as we know, and also in in current eras, it's not necessary to always speak the former language of the invocation, Latin, German. So we are lucky to have also English translation. You can find this translation also on Amazon, and it's quite nicely translated by Mr. Nicolas Alvarez Ortiz. and this book is very nicely written. Yeah, so I was also lucky to read very nice and good translation in Czech language. I'm practically native in Czech, by Dr. Vesely. If there is someone here who reads Czech, I recommend the Czech translation. I think it's even more superior to the English one, but what we can do. Yeah. So I will be here working with the English translation for you. So why I think that this book is worthy of a current practitioner of Goetic arts. It's totally different system to 72 Goetic spirits we know from Lesser Key of Solomon or from Greater Key of Solomon. Yeah, we know that Solomonic magic works mostly with the 72 spirits. I have been discussing them so many times in my previous videos, but this is something similar but else, my friends. First of all, when you read this book, I would recommend it, and this is my great warning to all of you. This is not a toy. Yeah, maybe with I consider this book much more dangerous than actual Lesser Key of Solomon, although that book is quite powerful, especially the translations of Aleister Crowley. But this is something. Yeah. Okay. Let's go into it. So first of all, he expects those people that work with this book to have some understanding of Christianity and so on. The typical warnings of people from the 16th century. I wouldn't totally omit them. The magicians that are working with this system should understand Christian theology up to some level. It's not so theologically dependent as Grimoire of Honorius that I'm reviewing in my previous videos, but it works quite a lot with Christian type of sigillums. Yeah, so which I think are important, not because we fully believe in this type of Christian things, but it affects the spiritual entities, because you are invoking spiritual entities that are very much affected by the mindset of the 16th century, so-called atavisms or archetypes, that will react if they will see you protected by inner circle using specific Hebrew, Latin, Christian names. It can protect you. Yeah, it doesn't matter that this is. They just react to it. This is my personal experience. Yeah, so I'm getting into this. Thank you for the question. Yeah, so first of all, this is expected. So you have some, if we have some understanding of Christian theology, very good to have. Later, this book starts with something very similar to many modern magic practicalities. This is something that I would avoid. It starts with a grand ritual. Practically, a specific circle is drawn on the floor where you evoke, meaning like you want to materialize the spirits that are in this book, should be obedient to you, should do according to your bidding, and so on. This is medieval magic. It's not expecting the mindset of modern Goetia, left-hand path, new age stuff, demons are your friends. No, you are invoking here something that is going to kill you if you are not cautious, or make you quite crazy. Yeah, so these entities are not making games. Yeah, so that's why. But let's go into it. So first is this preparation. I would avoid it, because if you are not you are going to invoke a lot of spirits and so on, and they have to be obedient. I would avoid it. It can be overwhelming. Then there is structure. The structure is different from the 72 spirits of Goetic spirits. It's similar but different. I believe that this is not actual book of Dr. Faustus, as it's attributed to very skillful magician that is due to security reasons in the 16th century saying he's Dr. Faustus, but it might be someone else. And he is also using books that were available to him at that time. So practically Ars Arbatel planetary magic spells, mostly Agrippa of Nettesheim's Pseudo-Agrippa's fourth book of occult philosophy. So a lot of things you can find also in other things in the grimoires, but this is a very specific system. Hierarchy is different. I will speak very briefly about it. So first of all, he attributes, speaking about the structure of hell or the structure of the demons. I had a video about it. We know that there are so many theories. Lucifer here, Satan is that. There is Beelzebub. A lot of other demons are attributed as a rulers of hell in Holy Trinity. Yeah, but in this specific book, he attributes, I would say correctly, the ruler of these spirits to Lucifer. The Lucifer in his is called a little bit different here. He is using practically a cipher name of Nahaniel, but also Nadaniel, I'm sorry, the spirit who is exiled by God, so everyone knows who it was. But he also is practically saying, is thus to be called Lucifer or Blue Dawn, which means Beelzebub. There are so many theories about, you might agree, not agree, doesn't matter. Yeah, so he practically saying that this is the top hierarchy of these spirits. Lucifer is not going to be invoked here in this book, which is also correct because it's so abstract. It's possible to invoke, but not in this book, which is too abstract. And he is correctly going into the second layer of so-called 7 Prince Palatines. Yeah, so this is similar to Lesser Key of Solomon. We have the kings, we have princes, we have dukes, we have presidents, and so on. Here it is a little bit different. Here are 7 Prince Palatines. Under them, they are so-called lords. Then we have infernal armies, so-called counts. Then we have tribal spirits. Then we have evil spirits. We have so-called wandering spirits, foolish spirits, which is coming from German. Practically, these are the schlechte Geister, like bad spirits. Yeah, and other spirits in the infernal armies. The hierarchy here is a little bit different. The numbers are also different, but he says that each of these spirits is commanding another legions. Yeah, so we are. What is interesting here and different from Lesser Key of Solomon is that first this book starts with the invocations of so-called 7 Prince Palatines, which are directly under Nadaniel or, let's say, Lucifer. Yeah, so he calls them by names, and the first one is called Barbiel, which is not an entity you would like to invoke. And the second one, because the entity as such is possible to invoke, but it's not very keen about humanity at all. Yeah, it's a demonic, goetic entity ruling practically over material sphere, and it thinks about humans as a vermin. Yeah, so it can give you some type of powers, but it will always ask for something that you will have to pay for. The second, these spirits are expecting pacts. Yeah, it's really hard stuff. This. The second, according to the book, yeah. Then there are other spirits like Ariel, Arziel, Apadiel, very strong, powerful entities that usually we if you haven't been working with German medieval magic, these are the top rulers of infernal hosts, and Mephistopheles or Mephistophel, the famous or infamous spirits that Johann Georg Faust was invoking. Before I start to speak about the spirit, what we can say about Johann Georg Faust? We know that, especially about the yes, about the Dr. Faust, is that he is practically bored by standard world. He is sad about the reality around him. He's looking for knowledge, the knowledge that is being denied to him due to his practically materialistic and very realistic way of looking at things. He is not believing in standard God or scriptures or things like that. He is a typical prototype of magician, someone that wants to know, not only be sufficient with the things that they should be according to the scripture or that we shouldn't speak about. He's a scientist. So his expectations is, of course, Goethe is writing about his sad love, his died fiancé and things like that, that people that died around him that he's sad with love. But this is not the thing that I would say is according to the original legend. Goethe is or Johann Georg Faust as such is a magician looking for knowledge, and he contacts Mephistopheles, that is a spirit of truth, but really a spirit of truth, but also as by the words of Mephistopheles, I am a truth being denied. Yeah, so he does not want to share, because he says, but because you want, as a human worm, you want to have answer to things that are not according to your status, Faust. You are just a human, and you want to, not because of the power or anything, but you just want to know the intricacies of the God's design. Yeah, and I am willing to give it to you. I'm going to speak and give you everything you want to know, but you have to sign a pact with me. And he signs a pact for 24 years. And and after these 24 years, Mephistopheles tells him openly, I'm going to take your soul, and it will be totally painful for you. What does it mean, taking of the soul for the modern magician? I would say that the entity is going to karmically bind him. It means that it's not, because I don't believe in soul as such. I believe that in energy that can be practically, maybe there is. It means practically that it's going to erase him. Yeah, that he is going to pay. He's not going to return. There is nothing. He's going to be consumed. Yeah, that's. But Faust, being a curious person, agrees, because he wants to know. Faust, who is Mephistopheles? In the book, we read that Mephistopheles is one of the 7 leading entities of demonic hosts. We know that Mephistopheles as such is owing several hundreds of legions. And we also know, according to the book, that there is another, and only one other entity above him that is practically, from magical perspective, and please, this is not like that the angels, demons. There is an angel called Katkiel, that is practically also able to provide divine knowledge, but only to those that are practically saints. They are people that are working with Catkill as an archangel. That is, it's practically higher self. It's or for those that we do not believe in totally in these gods or things like that, it's practically connection to the overall human subconsciousness. So the angel can provide all of these answers that Mephistopheles can, but he is not willing to, because he is practically available only to those that are blind by faith, which Faust, of course, isn't. Faust is doubting. He's not a saint. He wants to doubt. He wants to doubt even God's design. He wants to say, no, I think it could have been done better. Why it was done this way? Isn't this too? He's a rebellious person, yeah, not because of his vanity, but because of his keen intellect. So Mephistopheles tells him, yes, you can speak to Catkill, but you are not holy enough. I have to suffice. And but later on, Mephistopheles tells him also other secrets. He tells him that he is being governed by energies of planets like, and that's very interesting in the book, because imagine, he writes it in the 16th century, and he says that I am governed by the and it's in the book. I am governed by the Plutonian, by the star of Pluto. Pluto was discovered in 1923. And this book is originally from we expect 1540 or something. So we expect that Faust, or as a magician, is understanding that there are trans-Saturnian planets. Mephistopheles also tells him that I am being governed or invoked by other energies, by Saturnus, by the god of Uranus, which means subconscious, and by Plutonian energies. Uranus is very strong. It means practically a dreaming entity. Yeah, so Mephistopheles as a spirit is taking also the same information from this human unconsciousness. So then Mephistopheles starts to ask him the things. I want to see this. I want to see this history. I want to see what was happening in the past, what was happening in the future. So we can say that Mephistopheles is getting into the metaphysical trance, where my theory is that he is able to access his genetic memory. Practically, he knows about these things because they are imprinted to him from the generations of the past. It's like it's this genius is practically opening of Mephistopheles his everything. Yeah, he sees visions. He is able to. He is getting the knowledge that he is being asked for. Yeah, and interesting. From a cultural analysis view, Faust is an interesting example of coming to terms with the transformation from the post-medieval church's control to rationalism and the modern science of the industrial age. Exactly. Yeah, this is it's practically related to because he as such is practically staying against the dogma of a blind faith. I consider Faust, whether imaginary or real character, as a tragic figure, as a modern Prometheus, someone that is really trying to understand the things. A true magician, not being concerned about. He's not using the power of Mephistopheles to govern people, to get riches, to get these lower things that will, at the end, not be helpful to him or to any one of us, because we all are going to die. Yeah, so he wants to know it all. So the prize is good for him. And how it ends? Mephistopheles, after these 24 years, according to the Goethe, and it's based on this real story of Mr. Sibelius that maybe died in this explosion of alchemical experiment. But Mephistopheles explodes his body. He does not even take his soul. He practically mutilates him and throws him from the window to the mud. So his body is practically devastated. And it's there is some poetics in that practically his body is not worth anything even to Faust. He's okay with the dying because he knows everything. He practically, according to Goethe, he's pleading for his survival and so on. But I think that the actual Faust was okay. It was worth it. Yeah. So he's being consumed. Which might be a situation which is also very working with the fluids. Yeah, if we Uranus is a trans-Saturnian planet of water, and the death is practically that he is boiled from inside, so his fluids are exploding. It's a watery death. It's a signature of an entity of Uranian origin. Back to the book. So, how to invoke these dreadful energy? Yeah. According to the book, you have to create a very specific circle that is full of protection, because the initial showing of Mephistophelian energy is very negative. And Mephistopheles is practically trying to scare you to death, according to the book. When you see him for the first time, he's taking so-called atavistic form. Atavistic is something that it's practically a symbol, or that is we as humans, we do have in our minds the memory of old sapiens and so on. So practically all these spirits that are being shown to us, I will make a specific video about atavisms, I think, later. It's another topic. They are shown in these animalistic forms. These animalistic forms have specific meanings, but usually the first form, or even in the Solomonic books, the first showing of the entity of such strength is terrible. Yeah. He is a horror. Yeah, he wants to test you practically, and he's going to use the worst form that you can ever imagine. Yeah. If the spirit is not going to respect you, you will practically die. Yeah. The Mephistopheles is saying that the way how he kills those that are not worth working with him, that their heart freezes to death. Again, this Uranian thing. Practically, they get a stroke from fear. Yeah. Invoking how is he described it? It's also interesting. I think I will have to show it to you this way. Yeah, so he is he's taking a form of something like a wolf or a bear. Yeah, this is, yeah. No, you can't see it very well. Yeah, very strange. Yeah. So what does it represent? Yeah, it's lycanthropian form. It's predatory. Yeah, it takes a form of a wolf, of something that is that only later on, if you bind him by specific coercion sigils. This is very new. There are specific coercive sigils here that gives you power over the spirit, so it has to show itself in a correct form. But there are specific sigils that I am not going to show in this video. but you can find them in the book. Yeah, because I want to avoid people dabbling with it, just making copies. And yeah, if you are interested into it, buy the book, read it, and you have to draw these sigils. So no copy pasting, and they are difficult to draw. Learn to learn to draw. So it's hard. Yeah, and they are not saying that this is easy. Yeah, so if you have to present the sigil to this evil spirit in a way, I know that this is the coercive sigil. I know the meanings of it, because there are even the small. You have to understand what each sigillum represents. It's written in the book, and it's practically that the coercive sigils. It's like, this is my planet. This is my name. If you will use this sigil or burn this sigil, I will have to form myself into the form that is acceptable for your eyes. My power is great on Saturdays, then and then. Yeah, there is even days when he should be invoked in specific hours, and you show the sigil, and now there is you present it before your circle. Don't do this before this. Don't do this without the circle. There are ways of imagining circle, I know, but it's a lazy approach. You can do it with small larvas, things like that. With this type of being, draw the circle. Yeah, it's needed. And then you, in front of the circle, you use the sigil, and he sees the coercive sigil. If it's accepted that you did it in the right way, then he shows himself in the form of a man, and then he starts to communicate with you. So practically, he tells you that he is offering you the same deal for several years. He is going to help you practically with everything what you need. The power of these spirits of this level is not only knowledge. Yeah, Mephistopheles can do also other things, but it's not his forte. Yeah? It's not something that is according to his liking. Also, what is very interesting in this book, and later on what I have thought about, why some spirits are so hostile to you or are not even showing himself, because you have to always consider your zodiac, that it should be somehow in conjunction with the energy of the spirit. So if you have, my friends, let's say Saturn in your zodiac, which is in a square, or is in opposite, it's not in conjunction, but it's in opposite to Uranus, let's say, that is creating a conflict, Mephistopheles will probably not speak to you. Unfortunately, we are born in some way, and or he will be not. But good thing is that probably you will be not even inclined to work with such spirit, yeah, or people that are overly that their zodiac is not very well attributed to specific spirit, even in Goetia. Sometimes they will not show themselves. Yeah, so if you are working with Astarte, I have, for example, conjunction. Should I say it? I can say it. My conjunction, which is quite common, is Sol, meaning Sun with Mercury. So I am good with mercurial spirits, and also with the spirits of fire. But for example, with some spirits, I'm not going to say which. Magicians shouldn't say much more about the zodiac. I am not good with. Yeah, so check your zodiac before. Good thing is that the seven Mephistopheles is only one of these 7 palatines, and each of these palatines, of course, is attributed to specific star. So Mephistopheles is not only one powerful energy in this book. There are others, but I wanted just to speak about Mephistopheles. Yeah, I would avoid maybe this Barbiel, but some of us, of course, might be interested in different spirits. So the biggest part of this book is related to another another hellish palatine called Aziel or Asiel. And this is something for some of you who might be are on here. Thank you for the message. This is great. Asiel is by some, it's the German pronunciation, and by some it might be considered as Azel. Yeah, but just the theory. In this ASIL, it's 38 pages of working with ASIL and invocations of ASIL, very complex. ASIL is being shown in the form of Taurus. So, my friends, if you see, for example, Taurus. Yeah? If you hellish towers with fire and things like that, very huge. If you see this Taurian or that the spirit is morphing in the form of Taurus, it doesn't have to be always. Please, if you see in your vision the Taurus, don't expect that this is immediately Asil or spirits are taking these atavisms, these forms of animals quite often. And I think I have to make a video that is practically speaking about what each form might represent. Yeah, but with Taurus, we can say that it's related to the spirit or to the planet of the sun. It's Solarian spirit. It's a spirit that is being forced by the spiritual element of fire, which means will, strong will, yeah, or stubbornness, because this is goetic entity, so something or cliphotic, yeah. So it's darker, yeah. So this is the spirit of the fire of stubbornness. His planet is sun. He is going to be invoked definitely on Sunday, yes, and specifically other hours. The spirit is saying that it can bring wealth. Sun is the spirit of gold, yeah, material and also spiritual. But as the entities are mostly looking on this, they are like fallen angels, yeah, or we can say they are looking on the people. They are not friendly. Yeah, they look at you like, what do you want? Yeah, show me the coercive sigil. Show me that you have show me that you can even handle me. Yeah. So if not, then it will get crazy. It will curse you in the way that, yeah, you will go on. I don't want to go into the details, but so again, very cautious with the spirits. This Asiel, normally I say no, but in these specific types of spirits, you have to be very careful. It gives you, I know I own all wealth in the world, but I like to hoard it. Yeah, I don't like to give it. Yeah, so if you are going to ask the spirit for a form of some wealth or something, in modern way, it might mean that you might be able to, if you are investing, for example, if you are an investor, yeah, so you want to know, it can give you some help, yes, but it makes you a greedy person. It always takes. These spirits does not give freely. He's like really saying, like, I want to hoard, I want to have it. Yeah, I don't want to give freely. So if you are connecting with it, you are becoming part of it. So we will become also like that. You might hoard. You might like to expect that. Yeah. So he's also giving. He's also saying a warning. Yeah, that I'm going to help you 3 times if you persuade me and if you agree on my terms. But the 4th time, if you ask for something, I will kill you. Yeah, so it's like a story. I don't know. Yeah, so there are others. Yes, so they are Venusian powers. and others. I wouldn't say directly that they are psychopoems from chaotic point of magic. I would really say that these spirits are fully goetic. They are not even usually, I think I consider 80 or 90% of the spirits practically a produce of a human mind. But these I would consider trans-Saturnian. It can be made from our psyche, yes, but it's also something else. These are not fully dependent on human. They are not fully. They are slightly real. I could say. Yeah. So the book is considered Magia Naturalis et Innaturalis. Yeah, but or read the Faustian Grimoires. Yeah. So it's a those of you that are interested in the book, which you can read, it's this book. Yeah. This is just the first half of the book. The second half of the book starts to speak about the spirits of the elements. So we know those that read Agrippa of Nettesheim, Magia, the occult philosophy. We know that the spirits are divided into the 4 spiritual elements. And Faust is speaking about these other spirits, the spirits of fire, the spirits of gnomes, the elements, the undines and salamanders, and is speaking practically about these elemental energies that are not so dangerous as these 7 I have been mentioning before. The book continues also with the lieutenants of these spirits, which I would recommend those of you that are new to it, don't invoke these spirits, please. It's your up to you. But if this is maybe start with the smaller ones. I'm rarely saying things like this, but I had my share, recently. So, and I consider myself relatively knowledgeable. There are others that you can work with. And the third part of the book is about these elemental spirits that are not so dangerous and can very easily help with some kind of spells, can provide practically a lot of things. Yeah. So the rest of the book then contains a lot of sigil making, working with the black mirrors, creation of so-called specific talisman that is made from 7 types of materials, so-called electrum. It contains its share of silver, gold, and others, materials of the planets. So the book is very interesting but okay, so it sounds great. Like we can say, I want to have it, I want to try it. You will have to use and focus when it will not work. It will not work if you will not follow the procedure in the book. You have to continue with the procedures. This is if you there, I think Dave mentioned psychopoems, so I think we might have some chaos magicians here. Those that work with chaos magic, I'm not considering. There was a question last time whether I consider myself chaos magician. No, I'm more ceremonial person. So if you will try to mess with the ritual, will try to change some things there, you might up to some point. But if you are going to imagine the circle instead of drawing it, if you are going to use different type of protections in the circle layers, so if you are not going to use archangel names, but you are going to use some stuff that you usually do, like don't do it. Yeah, if you think that Hecate or Lilith or whatever is going to protect you against these spirits, and you put it in your circle, or you are going to use standard left hand path circles, no, it will not work. It will not protect you. These type of spirits are used to break it like a paper. Yeah, and there is a lot of it's the similar if you are working with the, and this is not something it's similar if you are working with the hoodoo or voodoo spirits. Your Abrahamic circle will not work if you are going to invoke Papa Gede. Yeah, it will not recognize. Might somehow help, but be more traditionalist here. If you are very successful chaos magician and have some very strong archetypic protection, might be working, but I wouldn't go with the risk. Yeah, maybe just use the Abrahamic or this use the original medieval circle, and maybe you don't have to believe in the spheres or in Archangel Raphael, but definitely the spirit will recognize the symbolism, because you are going to work with an archetype or with a spirit that understands these things and avoids them. So it will recognize and it will have its effect. Yeah, maybe you don't have to believe, but it will. But if you fully don't believe in it, or then it might not work. So sometimes these things might work. Also, you have to work with so-called very specific things here. Not only static typical sigils are of the, as we used to, yeah, that you use the sigil like a yantra that you are meditating over it. No, you have to use coercive sigil here, the sigil that is binding the spirit in the and use triangle of manifestation here. If we will not use triangle of manifestation, it will cause havoc in the area you are performing the ritual. I will strongly say don't perform it inside. If you are used to work on to do it in your place, a room, or somewhere, please don't even try. Yeah, in luckier way, it will make some electricity damage, fire, water leaks, things like that. Or do it outside. I know it's difficult, but this is difficult stuff. Yeah, so I wouldn't use it. I would follow the procedure. Uh, what is very important here is, and what many our, including me, left hand path people are saying, like, you don't have to use the prayer. Some people in the book is said like use this prayer. No, this is maybe the only exception. You don't have to pray Ave Maria or things like that, but go into meditation. Yeah, go into meditation, so you get into the light trance, but the sigils has to be used. Also, I would empower the circle with so-called 4 shields. So it means like on the each side of the, you have to orientate the circle to the specific type of the spirit. It's written in the book, but you have to also in the west, east, north, and east. You have to use the Solomonic pentagram. It's also written in the book. I would use it so to empower it. Don't cross the circle during working with the spirit. The spirit has to be banished after. You will feel the presence, but you have to formally banish him. There are 3 ways how to banish. Very ceremonial work. Yeah. After finishing the circle, stay at least 30 minutes inside of it. You can meditate. Take some water if you are thirsty or so on. I don't recommend to do it with your animal friends. They might get crazy. Yeah. So okay. So for the lesser spirits that are there, it's possible to do it, but with these 7, I would be extremely careful. Imagine Faust. was considered a master magician, and he ended death. Yeah, so yeah. Is this real or is it not? The question remains. I think that if you approach magic from the view that I am going to achieve something, it's not that, and I think I don't have to tell it anymore, but for some here, if you expect that you do all of this and you expect that the spirit will show itself in some kind of effects, yeah, like in the movie, yeah, and the jinn from, and you will see, and you want to see the spirit. No, you will not see anything because the spirit is not going to materialize. They are never materializing in this way. Materialization comes in the form of light trance. So if you do all of these type of things, they materialize inside of you. You see the visions. Yeah, so it's not real in a way that you can make a photo of him. There might be some strange effects. Yeah, there might be things, but don't make a photo of them. Usually, if you are not prepared and you haven't done your lessons in meditation, mental preparedness, you might get such visions that you will get crazy and you will jump from the window. That's why because you are practically connecting with something that is inside of you. You are practically, through this transcendental experience, you might be touching the primal fear in you. So when the Mephistopheles is coming, it's for you, it's real. Yeah, but if it's real for you, it's real. It's like a dream. It's everything. So magic is in a form real and not real, but it can open your mind to some things. And with these strong techniques, you can even achieve real material results. But imagine that all of these rituals you are doing practically within your own psyche. So there is a high chance of you to create mental instability. Yeah, while I was working with this type or touching this current, this Faustian current, which I consider very close to even Lovecraftian current. Yeah, something deeper in it. Yeah, uh, it put my energy out of some of you, like fossilized tricep probe. It drained my energy. It is a powerful thing. So I have maybe changed my opinion that there are sometimes in these rituals you can touch things so deep in your psychopoms, but these I don't consider them psychopoms. You can touch something that is practically real, yeah, but don't do it because you want to have a thrill of magic. Compared to this regular stuff that we are reading everywhere in these videos, yeah, I spoke with Hecate, good for you. Yeah, definitely, I'm not laughing. You might be connecting with something. You might be even connecting with Lilith, because now her archetype is totally different, as is shown in my video before, from the archetype of Lilith 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, when she was practically a human, a demonic spirit that was preying on children. Now it's a little bit this cool neo-goetic demonic spirit that can be very helpful in many ways, opening your sexuality, things like that. It's not so dark as it was before, but because it's part of our current understanding of things. Hecate is also very nice now. Yeah, it's totally different type of archetype that usually 90%, and it's good working with Hecate. It's a sexy lady, I would say, a little bit darker. But and I mean it. I don't mean it as that I want to There was, I think, one comment that told me that the lady was working with Hecate and she was feeling annoyed by me saying that Hecate is a produce of mind. I slightly apologize. I don't mean that it's totally a produce of mine, but definitely Hecate of current times is different from the Hecate of ancient Greeks of the 5th or 6th century, where she was practically offered human sacrifices. Yeah, so the energy of the spirit is changing with the time, and with these type of spirits, you are touching something that is forgotten, that remained in this medieval form. Yeah, who is now invoking Asiel? Yeah, who is now invoking Barbiel from occultists? Almost no one, because these books are not widely used. Yeah, that's why I consider this book a true black magic grimoire. This is dark stuff. It's much more darker than the spirits of Goetia currently now, because the current of 72 spirits of Goetia is, and I don't want to, and now I feel some strange energy. I don't want to mean it that I am saying something bad against the spirits, but they are changing as we are changing. Our culture is changing. They can be dark, very dark if they want to, because they have these archetypes behind it, but they are used to work with our current forms. If you invoke Ashtaroth, or there was a question, Asmodeus, whether Asmodeus is Mephistopheles, no. Yeah, if you invoke this type of spirits, they are now used to work with modern magicians. If you invoke Asiel, expecting God-fearing magician from the 15th century, and if he sees, again, not touching everyone, if he sees a man with protected in a circle from becoming a living god, plastic circle, yeah, and that energy will look at him and will eat him from inside. I mean it. Yeah. So you have to respect the energy that you work with. Yeah. But if you because if you'll not know what is this, yeah. so have your staff, have your sword, be prepared. Yeah. If you work with modern goetic spirits, they are used to us. Yeah. If you Brune, for example, she was given in Egypt. She was given Taurus was giving sacrifices were given to Brune. Some even human would say, to Moloch the same. Yeah, Baal Kadmon the same. Children were being put into the pits of fire. That's truth. Yeah, that we have archaeological findings, but now they are different. Now, if you work with this type of spirits, they say, "Oh yeah, the time changed." Really, and that's good. That's absolutely fine. We don't want to sometimes work with these dark atavisms. There are things, and really, there are things older than the goetic spirits, because we understand, or at least these forms of goetic spirits that we work with now, they are modern. They are 300 years, 200 years, maybe now with this revival of magic, you are working with the latest forms of these spirits. But it's possible always with the spirits, they are so plastic. You can work also with the older versions if you really want. But the deeper you go, the more dangerous it is. It's like working with your reverse psychology. It's like with if you want to invoke the spirits of Neolithic tribes, cannibalistic spirits, yeah, things like that. That's true black thing there. And don't want to be too black. That, again, it's very fashion-like, yeah. But the truth is that you can be damaged by that. Another thing is, why would you like to do it? If you want to do it out of curiosity, I want to see the bad guy, you will see the bad guy. If you want to see it from understanding, like Faust did, understand the things that are from which is the development of spirituality, you want to see the primal source, be prepared to touch something inside you from the oldest time, something where you still were practically a human ape, let's say. Yeah, you are touching these archetypes, something that is totally barbaric, something that is not into our cultural way of things, that there are spirits that don't even recognize circles. Now we don't work with circles because the spirits are more milder. The medieval times circles were used because the spirits those spirits forms were darker. And then there are spirits that don't even know what circle is. They don't recognize the writing forms because they are older than that. You have to invoke and banish them by singing, like it's done in shamanistic times. These things you are approaching are not fun, yeah, sometimes. So let's be careful. I just don't want to sound too spooky. I know I am sounding, but if you are going to work with this type of system, be prepared to get into the mindset of medieval magician. Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to answer some more questions. If I should, I would say 5 stars of 5, much more darker version of current Lesser Key of Solomon. But if you are in only for those that, if you want to do a spell like ask for money, curse someone, financial help, mental development, things like that, you can work with the modern version. If you want to touch something really different, you will use this one, but first try to do standard Goetic invocations. This one only with the ceremonial magic. Okay, so few more questions if you have. Okay. But Goetic spirits outside of time, yes. So theoretically, they are working with medieval practitioner as well as perhaps any of us who spoke with them last night. You would be very much successful if you work with this type of spirits in speaking with them in they can speak telepathically, so it's not necessary to know medieval German or so. But if you are a historian of or that can totally help you immerse yourself into that mindset. Yeah, in many videos like learning study magic school with Magister Klaus, I say you are the actor. Yeah, so it's going to help you, but you are an actor. So if you are the center of the ritual, so you have to act like that. You have to follow a little bit this medieval formula. That doesn't mean that you always have to use Hebrew or Christian magic or something, but working with these spirits, it requires it. Working with the voodoo spirits, you have to understand about the Vodun code and so on. Yeah. I had some questions recently. Some gentlemen asked why we should read so many books. You don't have to, but you can work with the modern current of the magic. It's absolutely fine. It's working. It's perfect. It's nothing stronger, weaker, but you can get yourself in danger if you are not going to respect the tradition of a specific spirit. Like if you go to Angola and you will try to work with the spirits the way Western magicians do, practically without protection, without anything, just having a nice meditation with a drop of blood. Don't worry if you get some kind of illness or something, they will be annoyed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But maybe I haven't read it correctly. So theoretically, they are working with medieval practitioner as well as per as any of us who spoke with them last night. Goetic spirits exist outside of time, but I wouldn't say they exist in a different reality. They exist they manifest through our human unconscious. They are not like working now in medieval times. Medieval times, I don't believe in these time loops. Yeah, it's the time is done. They are being forgotten. Yeah, that's why, and they are changing by it. So these spirits here are forgotten almost. That's why invoking them in a correct form, you are giving them energy, and they will react because they will be intrigued. but you have to respect the rules when you work with them. Yeah, they are something special, of course. They are different and the same. Uh, hard to explain. You will definitely feel different. Look, it's like working with a specific mask. Yeah, if you work with the spirits of Goetia, of Lysergy, of Solomon, you are working with specific tradition. Now it's becoming tradition. 72 demons. You expect that that spirit, let's say Bune, due to these 5 sentences that are written in the book, is giving money or it's good to you and so on. You are expecting that, and when you are do this spiritual invocation, you are practically forming the spirit to show to yourself in that specific form. But if you are work with, but the practitioner from Egyptian times, if the work with the classic Brune, was expecting something different that is written in the Lysergy of Solomon, the book practically from 16th century. Yeah, that was they expected that Buna is something like that. It was a mixture of medieval time. It was a nonsense practically. We created Goetic spirits of Lysergy of Solomon 500 years ago. They were the names might be the similar, but they are different than they were 1,000 or 2,000 years ago. If you work with these spirits, you are not working. If you invoke the same spirit from different grimoire with different tradition, you will get the same spirit, but his mask will be different. It's same like invoking Lucifer. You can get a nice guy that is sometimes looking like a face of a cherubim, a child, a black cock, a golden disc, or you can get a nightmare because you might work with his destructive Satan-like adversary attribute. Yeah, so the spirit does not have to always show himself in the same form. Many times he is being perceived by you through the filters. It's hard to explain, but yes, they are different. They are special. They are special to Lysergy of Solomon. They are more dark because they are not used to be. They don't like these type of energies. Does not expect people to be their friends. They want pacts. Also, the Lysergy of Solomon spirits want pacts, but they are not going to kill you afterwards. Yeah, these might try. Are the Golden Dawn banishing effective? Absolutely. If they are effective for you, yeah. If you are used to work with them, if you work with your energy, if you really feel something by doing the banishing of lesser key, greater banishing ritual of the pentagram. If you work with the pentagram, the lesser banishing key of the pentagram, and you see the elemental energy flowing through you, the pillar of energy coming up and down. If you can imagine that you are protecting this place, not just doing specific banishing or opening, yeah, but if you really feel that what you are doing is making waves in the astral place, then it's working. If should it work against these spirits? Might. Yeah, because the pentagram is also recognized by these spirits. Yeah, but from my personal experience, when something went wrong, and the area was practically very full, it's not one banishing. You have to do several ones, a lot. After working with the spirits, it was not only one. And it's the same like Stephen Sando, I think, a very famous magician of the 70s, 80s, wrote when he tried to invoke, I don't remember which spirit it was, but the spirit, different spirit came and told him, you have to learn the text from your mind. Don't just read it. In this book, you can read. It went away. And the area was so negative that he had to perform 50 banishing rituals. 50. In several days, because he was putting a lot of energy in each banishing ritual. So one banishing ritual might be not enough. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there are also others. Yeah, I would say that there is banishing rituals are quite potent, and but it's also very good to use incenses. Yeah, specific incenses, styrax, myrrh, some that are putting away the energy spirits. It's also good to use sanctified place, and it's always better to do it outside because you can leave the place and it will be later on eroded by other energies. Yeah. Mm. Magister, how to connect Mephistopheles is the legend of him with the Faust. If you will see the whole video about it, you will, in the book, it's written how it's there. My recommendation is to not do it. Yeah. Okay, my friends. I don't want to speak much about politics in this format because YouTube is sensitive platform, and I recently a lot of practitioners' videos were cancelled due to either discussing politics or things like that. I will tell it this way. I think that such things as war or damage, death of people, terror, definitely causes some waves in human minds, and the place is, of course, might be affected. There was a colleague of mine, well, more like teacher, who was working in the 80s in Czech Republic, and he was invoking the spirit Furkas, a Goetic spirit, by the way, and was asking him during the situation in the 90s. I'm sorry, it was the 90s or the 20s. It was like that. Whether there is a possibility in our country to have a war. Unfortunately, I hope that this was the truth and the spirit was not lying. The spirit said, like, are you crazy? It's not very possible to have it here. So I think there are zones and places where such situations occur more frequently. Unfortunately, Middle East, I think, is the one of those zones where the conflict is more likely. And so you should ask the same question. Maybe the spirits you work with, you might get interesting answers. Yeah. Okay, I think it was a nice time. I spent already almost 1.5 hours. It's a little bit longer than expected. So maybe if you want to read it just as a theory, think about it. And hopefully we will see each other soon. I'm starting to feel more energized after some experiments of this kind. So I will be doing another video hopefully quite soon. Although I am traveling in a week or so in Africa. So maybe I will do some nice video from there. Yeah. So wish you a good day and